Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about the metal tooling and how to make designs and all of that. First of all, these are two examples that I did real quick last night just to kind of show you the finished product. There is silver, just plain, or not plain silver, but there is just regular silver, and there are also some that are going to be different colors. You'll notice that they are silver on one side and then probably copper or bronze on the other side. These are designed to use on the copper side, and we have plenty of the plain silver on both. So if they get one of these, if they want one of these, encourage them to use that. Same thing for both of these. There might be some that are a little thinner or heavier gauge. That was a long bell. Anyway, how you approach it is going to be basically the same thing. So let's go ahead and begin. First of all, the kids could do something on their own if they wanted to. Let's see if we can get this in focus. There we go. But we have a whole bunch of these texture plates, and what I have found is that if you just give them this and say go ahead and start making something, they tend to goof up, not like it, and then oh my gosh, they want to start over. So I would really push the texture plates, and then they can develop from there. What I did is added 2 or 3 different texture plates on mine. I suppose a kid could do just a straight texture plate, but it might be a little boring and they might not like it. So again, I would encourage them to look at some examples and maybe, see how they can manipulate and make it more interesting. So I'm going to try this one. I'm going to do just the corner of it over here. Maybe at an angle. Okay, so the other 2 tools that you'd need is, we'll call this a stylus tool. I will tell you these are, because they're so long and they're thin, they're a little fragile. If somebody's using them way up here and they put pressure, they probably will snap. So you might want to encourage them to be pretty close when they're using this one and not to press too hard. It's better to go over it a couple times than to press really hard at first. So, but this is our main tool to begin with. And we're going to use the flat edge of the popsicle stick. And I'm going to lay it down. If you have younger kids that are struggling with this, you could possibly tape it down. But I would think most of your 3rd through the higher grades will be able to just hold this. And then that allows me to move it and change it after I'm done with this part. So I'm going to take this, and I'm basically just going to go along the edge of it until I get the desired amount that I want. And you could leave it with just the popsicle stick, but what I noticed is the stylus tool helps us to make it even more interesting. So you can actually then take the stylus tool, get in there, and make some of these shapes show up even better. Kind of losing track of where I'm at here. Now you notice I'm doing this directly on the plate. If you have enough plates and you have enough, I was going to say enough kids. I don't think you're going to have a problem with enough kids. Anyway, if you have enough of these texture plates, you can say, let the kids just continue to work on top of it. Otherwise, you can take it, or the kids can take it off, and they can manipulate it without the plate. And so you see I'm going in and just smoothing out, adding little details. This stuff is pretty forgiving if they're gentle. And what I mean by that is if I decide, hey, I kind of goofed up, I didn't want to poke that area down too much, they can flip it over and just kind of coax it back to the way it was. You can also say, okay, I want this part to stick out even more, that little tiny triangle right there. It's really far away. Let me see if I can zoom in some more. Wow, I can. All right, so if I say, hey, there's an area that's really not popping out. This might be better right here, this little point. So if I can do this and figure out where it's at, I can come in on this side that's actually, it's now concave, and I should be able to bring that point out and then flip it back over, And I think I brought it back out. Yep, it would have been right there. All right, so these stylus tools are used to basically just make the designs better. And again, I would encourage them to experiment and add different textures. Like this one was made out of one plate here, same plate, just rotated, and then the one that I was currently doing with the triangles was right there. What's also really neat is that this can be seen from both sides. Sometimes the side that you're working on may not be as interesting as the side that was on the bottom. So that's that. The next thing is the older kids are going to have the option of using permanent markers. And so when they get their design done, which I think this one could probably use a little bit more work, but when they get their design done, then they can start adding permanent marker, and it just adds a whole nother element to the, oops, that was sloppy. It was moving on me. Anyway, it just adds a whole nother element to the metal tooling. So that's that. Thank you for helping.